What's up, Rap Potential YouTube peoples? Welcome to the shop. So, this video is going to be about sticking some new suspension under the silver car, which I've done multiple times, but now this is more small upgrade. So, quick history. Stock 1980 SA. I had GSLSE, complete suspension under it, struts, springs, the whole deal, big brakes, the whole 9 yards. Spun a wheel bearing on that setup. Didn't really feel like replacing it because it's expensive, so I just put the original suspension back on with the stiffer springs. So I've been driving it on the GSLSE springs. Now, what we're going to do today, sorry about the rain, it's literally pouring here. What we're going to do today is we're going to slap on a set of Racing Beat Red springs. These are not new, gently used. And a set of front shocks. Notice these are just standard old KYB gas shocks. They're nothing fancy. We're just going to replace them because I got one. If you notice, this side's a little bouncy. It should only bounce twice before it settles. So the back seems to be okay. You can give it the old jump test. Look at that. Settled. Settled. I don't know how well that looks on the shake cam, but here, I'll do it again. Sitting over here so you can tell. So now you're sitting still. This is going to move. No bueno. Now here, look at the back. There's the back. Try it again. Bueno. So, ideally, those new front shocks over there, fix that, the new springs will be stiffer. So, here's some footage. I was just driving the car around last week, kind of filmed some stuff just talking about the suspension. I'm going to show you guys that while I put the new springs on. So, basically, this car, 1980 RX7, it's got bone stock suspension all the way around minus a couple coils in the front, so that way it sits level. And I will say, by bone stock, I mean I have GSLSE springs on it, so they're a little stiffer, but other than that, it's stock. So, what you're gonna see is like, it's a little bit, I mean, it's planted. It drives pretty good, like they handle really well. One thing that I did too is this has full poly bushings in the rear and in the front, and it's complete poly bushings in the rear. So this car has a Watts link, and basically if you lower it and you have poly bushings, what'll happen is under hard cornering, the Watts link will bind. The Watts link will bind up and it'll freeze the rear suspension, and then you'll get a snap oversteer and you'll spin out. Now, a rear-wheel drive, like lightweight sports car, much like this, is fairly prone to doing that anyways. But that's pretty much like just how they are. So what I did to help counter that, one, it's not lowered in the rear. Two, the rear sway bar is removed. So by taking the rear sway bar out, what that allows is the rear end to roll over, and you can feel it under hard cornering, especially on the street. When you turn in, the rear end rolls and then it plants the outside wheel, and then that helps you drive around the corner. Now a lot of people will be like, oh, you don't want that much roll because you want to stay flat, but I found that it just like helps the car like move a little better. I will say, high speed stability, the sway bar is much needed. Like I'm talking, I do majority like autocross stuff, just fun back roads and stuff like that. I mean, on the interstate, if you're trying to take an on-ramp at like 80, it can get a little squirrely. And not really because of the no sway bar, it's just because the car's got a little more body roll in that situation than, or I guess, sustained body roll in that situation. So, my plan, and the reason I just want to kind of talk you guys through this while we're driving here, is I've got a new Alright y'all, so for the rear, basically take out this bolt right here, which you can't really see, but you can see it's your lower shock bolt. So your shock can come out both sides, jack under the middle, let the rear end drop down. You'll see it'll move a few more inches than it can. We'll put the jack back on it just a little bit. About that. Oh, here you go, you can see it in better light. Take the bottom shock bolt out. That lets you move the rear end. Push your spring over, just like that. Bada bing bang boom, it falls out. Key thing to note, well, one, these springs are soft, and two, these are shorter. The end like this little cut end, it's a flat end. Cut end, the flat end goes on the top. The cut end, there's a spot. Let me get my light so y'all can see it. There's a little spot down in there. See that little ridge? Right there, maybe, sorta, kinda. Maybe you can see it. There's a little ridge on this, right here, where it goes up and down. That's where that thing sets. The top of it's flat. Also, for those of you who don't know, this is what's called bin rot. Well, so on the newer ones, there's storage bins here. This is the rust you get, because my car's rusty. Rear's done, I'll bolt it back up. So this is my method of doing the front. So if you take, obviously, 4 top strut bolts out, disconnect the sway bar and disconnect the tension rod. You can drop the whole thing out like this, okay? Now, the reason the jack's under here is because the only thing holding this spindle up is the brake line. If you don't want to mess up your brake line, support the spindle. You don't have to use the jack. I just prefer it because I had it handy. You can set a wheel under it, do whatever. Or just let it hang on your brake line. It's up to you. So right now, all you got to do, and this is the part that people always say is scary. You got this spring here, which if you notice, see how mine's loose? This is why I'm not scared, because I already did the scary part once. So I've got cut springs on my car. I cut a coil off. They're shorter. It's not going to go flying off whenever I take this off. They actually like settle, like they're loose in there. That's just got a bunch of rubber at the top because I put it there. And then this is what it looks like all put together still. So once I drop, it will all put together. I got it all disconnected, but once I drop this, hint hint, leave one nut on up here so it doesn't just fall out. I'll do the same on this side. So let's pop this spring off, swap the shock, we'll be cooking. The rain has ceased. Okay, a couple little issues here that I want to point out for y'all before I go do the other side. Well, one, these struts are old and they're a little rusty. Two, so are the shocks. So here's what you got whenever you get it all apart. So you have a nut, this one right here, that goes in here, just like that. Alright, so that nut's in there and your strut tube's down, or the shock itself's down in here. This is a real pain to get off. If you notice, I rounded a couple of the edges off and I ended up taking my air hammer to it and popped the thing right off. So, wonderful, right? Anyways, so what's next? We gotta reuse that. This is the shock. So, mine blew. It's jacked up, so we got oil all down in here, making a mess. And you can see just how effective this shock is. Wonderful condition. This is the new one. The new Freshie boy. With like some good shock absorbing power. So, a couple things you want to check when you do this. One, make sure they're the right length, and two, I don't think I have the right ones. Or maybe those were the wrong ones for these. It's also important that the top hat fits the strut tube, and mine isn't going to. Boys, I think we have an issue. We got ourselves a problem. These shocks that I've got don't fit the shocks that I took out. They are the right length and they do fit down in that hole. I did check that. Let's see. What else do I got laying around? I got some SE ones over here. How do they mount? That might be the same thing. Alright, homies, so here's what we've got. This is our prime issue here. So the new struts have a ledge on them. These universal camber plates that I have laying around are too small by just a little bit. It's not like a lot. So what we're going to do, we're going to mic these up real quick with our good old caliper here. We're going to see that 0.66 inches. This little bushing guy is 0.62 inches. So 0.04 will get us to where we need to be. Now, it's not like this is going to rotate in here. It's going to be tight. So it just has to fit. I have no sentimental attachment at all to these camber plates. The only thing that bothers me, sort of, kinda, not really, but is I'm going to have to run this spring catcher thing on here. And this, I checked on the old one, this piece anyways just fits over this. It doesn't just like bolt up here, so this will kind of jingle jangle around. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to take this piece here, the camber plate, and I'm going to waller this hole out 0.04 to the T. Then this will go on the cart. We're going to build this upside down. This would go at the top. We set this guy up there. The new spring, which is over there, and we'll just use this spring for reference. This spring will go here. Then this tube will go through all of it. Alright, so your boy, Mr. Rad, we made some we're just going to say modifications to these camber plates. Not really going to go into too much specific detail. However, the bushing size matches the shock size now. So, the next predicament, basically I used a carbide bit on my air grinder. So, the next bit is deciding the position to put these in. So, if you notice this hole, we'll start with the factory one. Okay, so one would look at this and say, oh, that's in the middle. It's not. This hole right here is not in the middle. So this is actually how they adjust camber and caster. So they take this and turn it and turn it and turn it and do whatever, and you can adjust the camber and caster from here a little bit back and forth. I had it in here at the full kill caster and camber point, which is all the way to that corner. So if you look, you can see this right here from the bottom. We'll put it in. We can line up right about there, which is not quite the middle, but a little bit back and left of the middle. And there's a little mark right here that I'm lined up with. So if you notice in this plate, the caster's cocked way that way, or if I put it the other way, i.e. use the other plate, I can put it a little further forward. So if you notice too, the plate's also slotted to go left and right, and this moves back and forth to adjust your camber. Now, my predicament, but I think I just figured it out, is this is going to sit up in here, and I need to slide it as far forward as I can, but in that position. So basically moving it towards the front of the car to take away caster, and then I'll be able to adjust my camber from there. No, I'm not going to be camber buoyed all the way to the bottom like it is. It will probably sit somewhere out here. So, the other thing that really sucks is, if you notice, this has bolt holes and not studs, and that's because it's adjustable. So what I have to do basically, it's not that bad, but I'm going to bolt this to the car first, then put the strut tube up through it with the spring, which is kind of a real pain in my butt, just because I know that I'm not going to be able to fish up there to get this tight to the car. Alrighty y'all, so here's what I came up with. So I got longer bolts to put this on. I got it bolted in. I took the camber part out so that it's solid. I put the camber part on that so that I can just whoop up, pop it in, and then put the camber bolts in. Super easy, right? Basically the reverse of what I did before, but I don't have to do with the whole thing. I'm also short some of the bigger bolts, the long bolts. I only got 4 of them. Oh, nice little burnout. The old Stockport motor's got it. Yeah, Stockports. And guess what? Guess what's even cooler? Woo, 2-wheel peel, baby. So we got that GSL axle. Alright, disc brakes and all. So, here it is on the lowering springs. For some reason my car's always sat high in the front, and I don't know why. That's why I cut the springs on the other set. But you can see the gap there and the gap there, not quite the same, and I really don't know why it's like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can see it's kind of settled in. This is like tucking right here, you know. This side's a little higher than the other side even. I don't know, maybe the chassis is bent. And then we got some mad wheel gap up here. But let's see if we fix what we came here to fix. Alright, so this is what we came here to fix, right? The car was bouncy. So I'm going to set you over here. We're going to just jump on it again, because that's how I roll. Boom. You can see the whole car from there. So, new front shocks. Did they work? I think they work. It does have like a... I think that's my camber plate. I need to put another washer on the top bolt. Like so where the strut tube goes through the camber plate. It has a little bit of play there yet. Obviously the back didn't change anything, but it should be stiffer. Oh yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe somebody knows more about it than me, and can comment below. But could having a, we'll just say an FB versus an SA lower strut tube, so the I guess we'll call it the spindle, the part where the spindle mounts the tube there, could that be different on an SA versus an FB? I don't know. Could the lower control arm be different on an SA versus an FB? I don't know. These are Racing Beat lowering springs for this car. You can 100% see that the back of my car is lower than the front. Why is that? Do I need to get a spacer for the front, or do I need to cut my Racing Beat springs down so I sit level? Because stance. You can also see too, we now have positive camber versus like almost no camber. And this is basically, I just maxed them out all the way in and then took it back a little bit. The top of the spring hits the strut, the like strut tower on the inside before the camber plate maxes out. So obviously this thing needs an alignment, so I'll do a rad alignment on it with some tape measures, and then we'll take it up to a shop and have it aligned. Hopefully they can fix it, but make it drive straight. So with that, that's the Racing Beat spring install on this car. Next you'll see kind of a feature video. I'll do some driving of it. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, comment below, and we'll see you next time.